Hello YouTube, Millennium X17 here, and I have a very interesting video for everyone today. First I gotta admit something right off the top right now, and that is that if I had recorded this video when I originally intended to, it would be a very different video. The subject in question is I've been playing a racing game, a sim racing game by the name of Project Cars over the past few weeks since its launch. I bought it at launch, and I've been playing on the PlayStation 4. But on to my point, just recently, I think it was the week before E3, they released the Racing Icons car pack for the game, DLC. 5 cars for $3.50, which, to be perfectly honest, I gotta applaud Slightly Mad Studios for some appropriately well-priced DLC. It was, that's a refreshing change of pace. Once you found it in the PlayStation Network, it doesn't show up in-game. It shows up, in the in-game store. It actually shows up buried under 5 or 6 different menus and then under 100 other things in the actual PlayStation Network, which that in of itself is a little frustrating, but not the end of the world. The Racing Icons car pack had 5 cars in it, 4 of which were of a class of cars that were not represented in the main game. Being 2 of them were LMP 900 and the other 2 being GT1. The 5th car, however, was the Bentley Continental GT3 car, and a lot of people amongst the community over the last, since it came out, 2 solid straight weeks, have been trying to get an answer of why is this GT3 car not showing up in the GT3 or GT Endurance campaigns? And it's a legitimate question. I tried, I got it, I'm like, why not? It's cheap enough. I'm enjoying the game enough, even though it does have its, issues here and there. So I get it, and I try out all the cars, and they're all really good. 4 out of the 5, again, are older, more historic type cars. Over the last several weeks, a lot of people have been asking, only a handful, and that's one of the things that that baked my noodle a little bit, is that I was one of the very few that have actually been asking. It hasn't been a large contingent of the community. It's only been a very small sliver, which to me is strange. That you would think that it would automatically just be in the career. Why wouldn't it be? Honestly, I have no idea about programming. I'm inept in that field whatsoever. But I digress. However, after 2 weeks, last night, Saturday night, June 20th, we got at least I did, I got a very conclusive answer that cannot be refuted. And it is very thorough and very, 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 final. But we'll get there. First, I want to start right here in the description for the DLC itself. Project Cars Racing Icons Pack. If you click on the description on the PlayStation Network, once you find it, obviously, this is what you're going to be looking at. It's okay, so it says, Project Cars Racing Icons Pack came out 6/9/2015. Bandai Namco, which I'll never get used to that. Games America or whatever. The description as it is written right here. Expand your prototype and GT rosters with 2 uncompromising and beautiful machines from the prestigious heritage of Bentley, the Speed 8 and Continental GT3, and 3 further racing icons, the Le Mans winning BMW V12 LMR, and the McLaren F1 GTR, and the Mercedes-Benz CLK LM. All have prestigious history in the world of motorsports and can be played in any game mode and naturally integrate, complement, and enhance your Project Cars career journey. And it is in that last sentence that I must emphasize. Can be played in any game mode and naturally integrate, complement, and enhance your Project Cars career journey. It's at this point in time that I was, going to plan on doing this big, long spiel about going into the campaign, and then I show how I have a bunch of different contracts and it never popped, but when I downloaded the DLC, I was at a weird point, so I thought maybe, it wasn't going to work, so I went through another side thing of I went through the LMP3 semi-pro campaign, I believe is what it is, and I put the difficulty all the way down to nothing, and I put the time to, complete the races all the way down to like 1%, and I rushed through the campaign, and then, I got a bunch of, I think I got 2 contracts for LMP2, and I got a couple of contracts for GT Endurance, and that was it. No Bentley pop. So over the last 2 weeks, if anyone's been watching my Twitter, at Millennium X17, you know that I've been tweeting out 2 at Project Cars game crazy, like asking nonstop every opportunity I get. And they've been silent on it. They haven't said anything. And it's just a little strange that they wouldn't say anything on it whatsoever. If I had made this video when I planned, the Saturday, like Friday night, Saturday morning, this video would be different, because then I would go through the campaign and I would show you, I'd start a new campaign up and it doesn't even work in new campaigns and all this other jive, and then I would sit there at the screen where the Bentley is spinning away in the garage in practice mode, and I would just, theorize as to what would possibly be the reason, and how crazy is it that A, you have to patch a car into a campaign once you've already paid for it, and B, that the fact that people actually, A, have to ask for it, and B, also that not many people are, which to me is absurd. But nonetheless, I decided not to. I was kind of busy. Last week was E3, but Saturday afternoon, it's like 40 minutes away before I have to leave to go to work, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? I've been searching online every chance I get, either on my phone or on my computer. I type into a Google search, Project Cars, Bentley GT3 career. And at one point, 2 weeks ago, there was a thread, and that thread's since been ended and, archived in a weird place. It's, been buried, which is just bizarre to me. But either which way, I did this yesterday at about 4:50, give or take, on my phone, and a new thread had popped up. The thread that I'm talking about is in the description of this video. So I'm going to go over some of there's other posts in this, but I'm just going to focus on some screen captures that I've got here. So starting us off here, post number 8, Ian Bell, the head of studio, is that, I'm guessing, the head of Slightly Mad Studios then? Ian Bell, so he's responding to Danawat asking, it's been asked numerous times and every time has been met with silence. It would be nice to hear a definitive answer from the team. He responds, no. And I'm like, okay. Danawat responds to that and says, no, not now, or no, never. Ian Bell responds only a couple of minutes later, we'll support those that make sense in the career if we extend the career for those cars/tracks. Okay. If you move on down to post 15, Ian Bell comes back in, responding to himself, saying, I've just reread this and even I'm not quite sure what I'm saying. Basically, if it fits, we do add DLC cars and tracks to the career with new career-based features. If it doesn't fit smoothly, we don't. If it doesn't integrate into new career modes, we'll say so on the tin. And I'm guessing that means in the description of the of the DLC itself. Okay, fair enough. I actually I refreshed the page and I noticed that this post had happened only about 4 or 5 minutes prior. So okay, he's watching this thread. So this is my chance right here. I actually make a forum account on the Project Cars forum. Quickly make it, Millennium X17. I respond to his post. I ask him, dead square directly, then will the Bentley Continental GT3 ever be available to be raced with and against in the GT3 and GT Endurance career modes? He responds to me only a couple of minutes thereafter that, saying that we won't be adding career functionality retrospectively, no. So let me back up for just 1 second. I understand why the two cars that are LMP 900 and the two cars that are GT1 aren't in the campaign. They probably have their own invitational events. There's no LMP 900 or GT1 career race bracket itself. So those being more of a historical type of cars, if you even want to call cars that are 10, 15 something years old, maybe a little more. I honestly don't remember. I think they're in the 90s, but I digress. So I understand why those aren't in. But the Bentley Continental GT3 is a concurrent car in the GT3 class. So what he's saying is that no, they're not adding in that to the career modes. And they're also, he says here, we won't be adding career functionality retrospectively, no. So that then leads me to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this leads me to believe that not only does this DLC car not work in the campaign, but further cars, further DLC packs, which they've already admitted are coming. There's a free car every month, and then they're switching between car and track packs every other month. They're switching. July is a track pack. So then the month after that, August is, I think, they're going to have another car pack. If those cars then do match up with career campaigns like GT4, GT3, you know, a couple, there's several in the game. The game is definitely got a lot of content in it, but it's like, so if it doesn't, you know, if those line up, then they won't retrospectively add those to the career mode ever. So at that point in time, I'm asking myself, why would I ever want to buy the DLC at all? That's really disappointing. And it's just very, very unfortunate. So I responded to him a couple minutes there after that. It's about, at this point in time, I'm trying to get ready for work. I'm trying to rush out the door. I only have to leave in like a couple of minutes, but I respond to him. Second post I've ever done. Responded to him, and it said, "Thank you for the clear response. I won't be buying any more DLC for Project Cars. I really wanted to like this game, as at the core, it shows such potential. However, with a myriad of minor fixable flaws, and then this, I can't keep supporting it. It's a real shame." And I mean that. I stand by my statement. I'm not taking my statement back one bit. I'm not editing my statement. And you know, if there's ever one thing that I wish I had changed, it's the word myriad. That kind of makes it seem like there's a huge laundry list. There really isn't. There's only about 5 or 6 things that I could really think of that are really necessary to be fixed in order to make it a good game. The AI has no awareness of what you're doing. The AI will bully you off the track without any repercussion to them. You know, they'll knock you right off the track. I can't even imagine racing in an open wheel, because that has to be unbelievable. The other thing that I can think of immediately is the corner cutting system. Now, I would understand, and I get the concept behind it. You don't want people, there are certain tracks where it's really easy to just cut straight across the corner or chop it off really deep. I think in real motorsports, there's certain things, if they place cones on the inside of a turn, and if you hit a cone, you are black flagged. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I get the concept of the corner cutting system. The problem is that it is hands down the most draconian thing I've ever seen in a racing game. Hands down. There's nothing else that comes close to how, like, you could overcook the car into a corner, blow into the sand trap. Your lap time's already toasted anyway, but it'll still punish you. And if you do it enough times, they'll start giving you penalties for it. And it's like, it's for that reason exactly that I had to shut off the flags and penalties. It's like, this is absurd. There's no reason for it. There's certain tracks and certain sections where you can get a tire off into the grass and it'll hit you. And then there's certain tracks where you can get 3/4 of the car off the track and it doesn't hit you at all. It's very inconsistent in that way as well. But there's that. There's a couple other things. The menus are maybe a little confusing. The options in order to edit your settings on your both controller and wheels are buried in between 2 different menus. One when you're in track, you know, on the track editing your setup, and one buried deep within another menu off the main menu. And it's like, those are just 3 that I can think of right off the top. There's probably a couple others, but these are all fixable. And it's just, I'm really upset at the fact that I'm not buying any more DLC for Project Cars. And the reason being is, of course, why would I want to buy DLC cars for things I can't race in the career? You know, I really wanted to race the Bentley in the GT3 and GT Endurance campaigns, because the way I race that thing, I'm faster than it, depending on the track, by about a second to a half a second. You know, a half a second to a second, compared against the McLaren GT3 car, which would have been my choice elsewhere, you know, otherwise. So during this time, I'm getting ready for work. I'm almost out, ready to run out the door. I know I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I'm just like, I'm about to shut down my computer, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna refresh this page and see if there was a response. And this is where I really start to have just words fail me at this point in time, because I refresh the page. This is what I'm looking at, and I'm like, what happened to the forum? What's going on? And then I look down here. It says, WMD message. You have been banned for the following reasons. No reason was specified. The date of the ban will be lifted. Never. And I'm beyond words. Now, to be perfectly honest, after the response I got, it's all I needed to know. Would I ever go back to the Project Cars forum? Probably not. But at this point, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I have never been banned. Ever. Nowhere else. No website. There's been no, you know, like on, I don't even know if you can do it anymore on YouTube comments, or Twitter, or other forums. I've never been banned for anything ever. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I am beyond comprehension at this point in time. So I log out, I refresh the forum. The final post, posted 2 minutes after I posted my response, Ian Bell comes back in and says, I swear I knew you were just waiting for anything remotely not absolutely positive after your rejoin to jump in so you could complain for nothing. We won't be hosting any more of your invented negativity. Bye. So I'm to be so let me just process this right now, because after I just got home. It's like 7:30 in the morning Sunday. It's been about 15 hours, give or take, that this has happened. And as of the recording of this video, and I'm beyond words. This is like, and here's the first thing, and I just want to let you know. I've never wanted to judge anybody based on anything that they've typed onto a screen, whether it be a forum or YouTube comments or Twitter. Oh, God, especially Twitter. I hate Twitter because the 140 character limit is ridiculous. You can't have a debate on Twitter. It's impossible. But the reason why, and I've said this on prior Video Game Pulse podcasts, is that when you type something down, you lose tone of voice. You don't know in what tone of voice the person is speaking in, who wrote that comment. They might be speaking in a like a joking manner, but if you read it in a serious or angry manner, it kind of almost sounds like they're bashing you. And okay, that's just one example, and there's several examples of this. So I never really like social media for that reason specifically. So you can't really tell by, you lose tone of voice, and that really, means a lot. What it almost means as much as what is said. And when I put this down, I really was careful with what I said, but like I said, the only word that I really am upset about using is myriad, because it's not really that much. There's a handful of issues, and they're all fixable. And I'm truly, when I wrote down, thank you for the clear response, I meant it. Thank you, Ian Bell, for responding, finally, after 2 weeks of nothing concrete. We have a clear response. The Bentley GT3 car will never be in the career mode, and neither will any other DLC car that comes in the future. And it is with that in mind that I'm like, then there's, even though I can't thank Slightly Mad Studios enough in this day and age to have appropriately well-priced DLC, I really can't justify buying DLC, even if it's affordably priced, for the content that they're providing, if it can't be used in the campaign. Now, granted, track packs, I can understand that might be a whole lot tougher to, switch up the tracks in the game. There are definitely some holes in the track roster, but the track roster is big enough that it definitely doesn't suffer for it. So there's that. And here's the thing. Over the last 15 hours, all during work today, I've been thinking about, okay, I know I'm going to make this video now. This is a guarantee. But what is this video really about? What is the point? What am I really getting at here? And honestly, after thinking about it, I'm not 100% sure what I'm getting at or asking for. But I can tell you for certain what I am not asking for. I am not asking for an apology from Ian Bell. I am not asking to be reinstated onto the Project Cars forum. I am not asking for a refund for any of the DLC that I've already purchased for this game. I'm not asking for a refund on the game. And ultimately, after 15 hours of sitting on it and thinking, what I'm calling for is both for Slightly Mad Studios and the community in general to, I want everyone to ask more of the studio themselves. Ask more of yourself. You have a great potential here. This has the potential to beat Forza Motorsports, that series. That Microsoft is kind of starting to come out too soon, too often if you ask me. But to me, you have to ask more of yourselves, and the community must demand more from Slightly Mad Studios. What I'm asking for is, fix your game. You have something here. You legitimately have something that I would like to play on a regular basis. And what I think ultimately that hangs me up more than anything else is what has transpired here on this forum. Ian Bell responding to me and be like, oh yeah, we won't be hosting any more of your invented negativity. Am I really inventing negativity here? Because I really don't think that what I said is negative. I'm not going to be buying any more DLC, because what's the point if I can't play it in the campaign? I don't want to play multiplayer. Every racing game that I've ever played multiplayer with has turned into either a giant demolition derby at the first turn or nothing but lag, and it never works. And it's a shame. I would like to try to play, but it's just very disappointing. And I think that's ultimately, I'm beyond words at this point. What am I feeling? I honestly don't know. It's shock? It's disappointment? It's not anger. I can tell you right now, I'm not angry. And the reason for that is, I'm letting it go. Really, the only thing I could say that's in Project Car's favor is two things. First off, there's nothing coming out. The summer drought, as always, for at least another month and a half, and as such, there's nothing really that I can trade it in for. And the other thing is that something that I haven't stated is that I bought a wheel specifically for this game. This game was so simmy and so precise that I was inspired enough to go out and buy a Thrustmaster T300 RS, and knowing the handful of wheels I've had in the past, I then also popped for Next Level Racing's wheel stand. And it's somewhat of a hilarious setup in my bedroom here because I kind of have it up against my bed because there's not enough room for a official chair in it. Maybe one day I can get the back half of it with the racing seat and everything, and it'd be amazing. And I will 100% agree that this game with a wheel is a different game. It is, I'm not going to say necessary because you definitely can get by with the controller, but it's just, the finite precision that you get out of the wheel and with the force feedback really adds something to the game. And after spending $400 on a wheel and $270 on a wheel stand, I now sit here a month something away from when Codemasters releases the, F1 2015, 2016, I forget which one. That's the next game coming out, the racing game for the PlayStation. And I'm going to be getting that, and I'll probably be hanging on to Project Cars until then. I'm going to be playing it a few more times, just specifically because I spent all this money on a wheel. Why wouldn't I? That would be crazy. So this week, Video Game Pulse Podcast 231, it's going to be named Project Disappointment. I'm giving my final review of Project Cars. So this Tuesday, I'm probably going to fire in a couple matches of multiplayer, and, well, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I'm not holding my breath. Maybe be surprised. That'd be nice, but ultimately, I'm just very disappointed. His response to me could have been handled so much better. I think that's ultimately what's really got me as in so much shock and in such loss of words, is that if he had responded to me and came back with, I'm sorry for that's how you feel. We, the team here at Slightly Mad Studios is constantly working to improve the game, and hopefully one day we can earn your, patronage back as a customer. And you know what? If he had said that, I probably would have let it go. I probably would have eventually, gotten over it and raced. Because right now I'm sitting on a contract for the McLaren on both the GT3 campaigns and the GT Endurance campaigns. I could just race the McLaren right now. And I don't know if I will or not. I'm definitely going to check out multiplayer, but past that, I don't know. It's just so disappointing and so upsetting. So finally, to the name and title of this video, anyone who's been wondering, no, you cannot play the GT3 Bentley in the career mode. And from what I can gather, you can't do that for any of their DLCs upcoming, which is just, to me, very shocking and, again, disappointing.